Hello everyone. So I'm going to be showing you how to use a program called Padlet. Padlet is a really interesting tool that allows you and your students to interact with each other in sort of a synchronous way without actually being in the classroom, or actually I have done this in the classroom too, without them actually saying anything to each other. So they'll be having a conversation, sharing ideas, sharing questions, contributing to a conversation without actually talking. And it kind of reminds me of like a parking lot where you put up a blank space and you give kids maybe a Post-it and a pencil, and they can write up their ideas or their reflections or their questions, and then put those Post-its up on the blank space. And that's a space you visit later, or you can visit together as a class, or you tell them to visit and respond to, however you might manage it. But Padlet is a really great tool to facilitate the same type of activity without being in person with each other. So this is Padlet, and you just go to padlet.com and you sign up for a free account. The free account is really good. I've also I'm upgraded now to the teacher's account, and it just gives you more space. But it's very, very easy to use. So I'm going to show you some examples of Padlets that I've used, and then I'll also show you how to make one. So this is an example of one, and the students will have gotten a link on Schoology that'll take them right to this Padlet, and it had told them to watch the Gun, Germs, and Steel excerpts, which is part of a unit that we do on exploration, and then they have to go through that. And as they're doing it, they're supposed to be reflecting. So there's a couple of prompts that I give, and then they have to go through and kind of respond to those prompts. So I tell them they have to minimally post on here 3 times, and that they eventually, some of them I make them respond to each other, but they have to contribute 3 times. So you can see they just put, they have their little account, shows me their name. They can change the color of their text, and they can do different things in here. This one's pretty basic. And they can just kind of post what their responses are, what their reflections are, if they have questions, if they have anything like that. It gets really fun when they get going talking to each other. That's really fun. But you can see this is great because if for nothing else, you're holding them accountable. You're making sure that they've all contributed, and that therefore they've all been going through the video or listening to the podcast or the screencast or whatever it is they were going through. It's a really great way to just hold them accountable. They know they're being checked. They know not only will the teacher see it, but each other will see it. It brings them to more pressure to make sure that they're doing a good job. So that one I'll just go ahead and approve. So it shows all of their posts here. So you can go through and do a whole different gamut of types of posts for this. I design the background of each of these things. I design how I want them to look, what I want them to say. But making the Padlet itself is really, really simple. So you just go in and it'll be at your dashboard, and it just says make a Padlet. You click on that and it'll give you all these options. You can make a wall, which is the ones that I mainly use. You can do a canvas where it scatters things out and then they can connect, so you can kind of make a workflow for them to watch. Same thing with streamlining content. This might be something where they're in a process and they'd have to be contributing to the process. A grid. There's maps where they have to be interactive on a map that I've used before too in my class. Same with the timelines. I've used that many times. This is more like an interactive chat. It's a little bit more discussion based than the wall one itself. And then the shelf one I haven't used, but it looks pretty basic. So we'll just go and do the wall. You select that and it's going to start your Padlet. Now it's going to start out with a basic default template for you, and you can just immediately start to modify what your Padlet's going to be. So we'll call this something, let's see, what can we call this? COVID-19 comes to school. Yay, because that's all that's on my mind lately. How will schools practice safety to prevent COVID outbreaks? Now, this would be a really cool one to pose in a professional development that we'd be coming up with, but you've put in that stuff, and we'll just do, we can go through and pick, you can do emojis. We'll just do a little mask because that's funny. So now this is what they'll see when they first come on, and it's kind of giving you a preview here. So here's my title. I'm the owner, when it was created, what our basic concept is, how will schools practice? And I typically put on either a prompt question or what our essential question is for that lesson. And then just a little icon helps them kind of keep them straight. Here's the address for it. So I just always click copy to clipboard, and then I paste that into Schoology. You can embed it into Schoology. I'm not sure if that's possible with Google Classroom, although I think that it is. And then they don't even actually have to go to Padlet.com. It'll just open right up in their Schoology or in their LMS, whatever they're using, if it can be embedded. So there it is, copy to clipboard. You can change the color of this. You can add your own pictures. So like the Martin Luther King one, I added pictures of Martin Luther King. Same with the Guns, Germs, and Steel. I added the map as the background. So you could add different things to this. You can make it different colors, and it's going to change the whole thing for you. So you can get very creative and make this very personal. Color scheme, you can change this over. I usually leave that. The font, I like to play with that a lot. The kids think that's really cool. A couple of important things, the attribution. I make the kids get their own account. That way I can see who's posting, but the only way you're going to see who's posting is if you do attribution. So you'd have to click that on, and this way it's going to display the author name above each one. And the nice thing about that is then I can hold them accountable. Now, if you did want to have just an open forum and kind of get some blind feedback, you could leave that off, and then you can tell them your posts are going to be anonymous. Nobody's going to know who posted what, and then they might feel a little bit more comfortable to be really super honest. So sometimes I've done that with some, end of activity sessions or something where they're in the middle of a project and I want to see how they're doing without them feeling nervous about being judged. New post position, I usually do this as first. I always allow comments because I like the kids to be able to comment. Now they do have this feature where they can do reactions. They can grade each other's posts. They can upvote them. They can like them or star them. I work in an all girls high school. I found this gets very clicky. I don't like it. So I don't ever do this anymore. Require approval. I tend to only do that on things that might be controversial. So when we did our immigration post about detaining immigrants, I required approval. I wanted to make sure I saw what kids were posting first. A lot of times we're hearing parents' opinions or whatever nonsense they've seen on TikTok. And I want to just make sure that what we're going to see from them is going to be appropriate to be in our classroom. And they'll get more of that as they get the norms of discussion. And then filter profanity. My girls would never do it, but I do that anyway, just in case. Anybody can have a slip up, and we just want to make sure that they don't. Before a parent sees it or administrators, just you cover your own fanny. So, and then map a domain, I'm not going to do that. So, okay, next. Now you're all set and it's telling you can start posting. Now, if I wanted to, I could post on here right away, but this is what the kids will see. Sorry. So this is what the kids will see. So I just wanted you to be able to see their view. So they'll click on the pencil or the little plus sign. And when they click it, it gives them this open tab. So they might say, if this was to my professional development, the teachers would be saying this. So they might say social distancing. Distancing would be the title of their post. And then they might say, we must space desks. Oops, sorry, I'm not typing. We must space desks 6 feet apart. How is this possible in my tiny room? Okay, so that might be a teacher's question, and they want to post that in here to stir up some conversation. They can do a number of things with this. If they have the CDC's guidelines on this, they might choose to link it in there. They would just click link. If they wanted to upload a photo of their tiny classroom, they could upload a photo. If they wanted to search something on the web, they can link right to Google and pull in images or sites or text from Google. If they wanted to snap a picture right where they are that's on their screen, they can do that. There's a gamut of things that they can go through to make this really interactive. They can do a voice recording. So if you have students with a disability that maybe they're not great at typing out their thoughts, this is an amazing space for them to be able to just contribute without being boxed into how they have to contribute, even though literally in boxes, sorry. But they can just record their voice. They can film something. So there's a lot of different ways for them to be creative here. And my kids have loved doing this. I love seeing them do it. Once they're done, they just click out of it and there it is. Now they can get really fancy with it. They can change the colors of this. So here we go. We can change this to green. Okay, there we go. And the more they use it, the more they'll get comfortable changing this up. So there's a lot of other features with this, how to share it. This can go live. You can have this as a QR code. You can embed it. You can share it on Facebook. If you have a class Twitter, if you have Google Classroom, you can save this. So when the kids are done with it, and if you're worried about space or you want them to all be able to see it and not have to go back to the website, you can save it as a PDF or an image and send it out. You can save the responses as an Excel spreadsheet and send them out. So there's a lot of really cool ways to do this. this. And it's just a really fantastic tool to get them engaged and motivated, contributing, hold them accountable, and it's just really fun. So I hope this was useful and I hope you like this. Thanks for watching.